Thanks for joining us here. Okay. And there's one more. Okay. Good turnout for a first class at this location. So, who am I? What am I about? Why am I here? And you're here because you want more fruits and greens in your diet. I think everybody's looking to incorporate more of that into their diet, and because what I have found is that fruits and greens have given me the energy that I want, and all the other stuff that I used to eat, and I'll talk to you a little bit about my story soon, is about, I would feel good for 5 or 10 minutes, and then I was like, but fruits and greens, and can it be sustained as a 100% diet? This is what I'm here to relay to you. Okay, what are those? Okay, great. Okay, so what I wanted to start off with was the first video I saw of that got me inspired to become a raw foodist. I'm going to play this right now. And this is, you might have seen it, some of you might have seen this, but
you will absolutely feel a difference.
In my early 20s, I had more health problems than you could possibly imagine. I looked around and saw I wasn't the only one. And I said, this has got to change.
I was on 6 different medications, had seen 9 different doctors. I became hooked on prescription painkillers. I lost use of my left arm and partial use of my right arm. My immune system was really weakened. I was very, very bad shape. I was actually making out my will.
We're living in the most unhealthy culture in the history of mankind. People are getting cancer and dying early, while other cultures around the world are living well past 100. 3 billion baby boomers are looking in the mirror and freaking out. They're getting wrinkles, losing hair, gaining weight, and realizing that dieting, pills, lotions, plastic surgery, and injections just don't work.
Your body is starving for nutrients, and the foods that we have nowadays make you keep eating and keep eating and keep eating, and they're void of all nutrients. But what doctor is going to write malnutrition on the death certificate?
What if we could turn our life around right now, never get sick again, lose weight, regain our youth, and become sexier than we've ever been in our life?
Hi, my name is Natalia. I'm from Russia.
The answer is simpler than you think. People are doing it, and one by one, it's starting to change the world.
I love healthy living and raw food.
I'm away roots. I'm looking healthy. I feel great.
I can't even begin to tell you how great it is.
This isn't just about looking younger. It's getting younger.
Feel fabulous. It changes in a big way.
I feel a huge difference.
Absolutely amazing. I feel like I'm getting younger.
The most primitive people on Earth are outliving us by up to 50 years. They have no medical plans, no pills, no x-rays, no electricity, no freezers, no stoves. They're 100 years old and still having sex. You tell me who's better.
The first week I started eating raw without even trying, I lost 10 pounds.
70 pounds in the first year.
I've only been on this for a month and a half, and I've lost 30 pounds in a month and a half.
You're more beautiful, you're sexier, you're thin.
You get plastic surgery, you got Botox. That's just painting over rust.
I lost wrinkles. My skin was smoother.
My skin, my hair, my nails, everything, my energy.
Definitely more energy.
More energy.
Yes, tons of energy.
If I took this apple and planted it in the ground, I'd get an apple tree. But if I took this pasta, this bread, or this cereal, and I planted it in the ground, what would we get? Mold. So what's the difference between this and this? This has life. Life is what our body needs.
The food pyramid, retarded, pointless.
If I planted these vitamin pills in the ground, what do you think was going to grow?
And did you know that the FDA doesn't regulate any any of the stuff that goes in your skin, and yet if it goes on your skin, it gets right into your bloodstream.
Into your bloodstream, right?
That's gross.
Go ahead, sit there in your huge SUV sucking on sugar and cholesterol, wondering why your hair is falling out or whining about how cellulite just showed up for no reason. Come on, people, take some responsibility in your life.
Your body is a living organism and therefore it needs living food to survive and do the job that it's meant to do.
They say you're a hippie for doing it. You know, it's like it's a hippie reason for doing it. Maybe you're vegan and he just cares about animals. Well, okay. You can say whatever you like, but when you start eating that way, you're gonna feel better.
Go ahead, get your stomach staples, and now you can only eat one candy bar instead of 12. Grow up!
This is easy.
And it is so easy.
There's no rocket science, there's no search, there's no deep, profound thing you have to know.
This is a papaya. This is a mango. This is called food.
Over here, we don't have good medical system, so we're forced to eat more naturally, so we don't have to go to the hospital.
Everyone here in Australia loves to eat meat. I used to eat meat. There's no meat in these biceps. Squat a good 400. Deadlift probably over that, 400, 500 pounds.
Everybody always asks me about meat and protein. The biggest, most powerful animals on the planet don't eat meat. Some of the world's top professional bodybuilders don't eat meat.
I was the world number 2 junior in natural bodybuilding, then I was the world number 3 senior in natural bodybuilding.
Here's what I'll say about strength. You don't need to just be eating meat all the time. It's not a hippie thing. I can guarantee your strength will definitely still be there.
When people stop eating meat, their diseases start to go away.
There's more usable protein in greens.
We've all been brainwashed. You don't need it.
Over here, we have to walk everywhere if the bus system is not reliable, so that keeps our heart rates up and we're healthy.
I know what you're saying. What difference is one pizza, one piece of cake, or a soft drink going to make? Do you think it's going to simply go through you, completely come out the next day? Your body absorbs what you eat and uses it to build new cells. Your body makes millions of new cells every hour. What do you think those cells will be made of? That pizza becomes part of you, and those cells are not going to function properly. Why do you think you're always right on the edge of getting sick? Why do you think you're so tired all the time? Your concentration is so muddy.
You're always going to see doctors for something.
Remember the 3 little pigs? One had a house built out of straw, another one out of wood, and the other one out of bricks. Well, when the wolf comes around in our lives, and it will, what will your house be made out of?
My father, the neurologist, wanted to actually operate on his brain because his arms and body were spasming. And within 3.5 weeks, his health improved 90%. Now he can go back to work. Now he doesn't have sciatic pain. And this is just 3.5 weeks.
If all the scientists and doctors in the world got together, they could not make an apple. They can't take hydrogen, oxygen, and carbon and make a single living cell, but your body can. The only thing that can truly heal your body is you.
I really think it's all about food as medicine, not just food for the sake of food.
I definitely felt my whole sense and spiritual self and physical self was lighter.
I felt lighter. I feel lighter. I mean, I feel like air sometimes.
You just feel uplifted.
So maybe you inherited a body that isn't so hot. There are a lot of people out there who take old junk cars and turn them into hot rods and win awards at car shows. And they didn't do it by just giving the old junker a paint job. They had to strip it down to the bare chassis, sandblast all the rust away, and start over from bare bones. That's what you need to do with yourself. You want to be sexy? It's time to start over. And I mean, really start over.
You know, I don't prepare food anymore.
We threw out everything in the kitchen. We literally
We didn't throw it out, we gave it away.
That's right.
To some nice people that eat cooked food.
You eat things that grow on the planet.
I'm talking about nourishment that can get you through an entire day just having a handful of something.
It's easier than cooking. I don't even know how to cook.
I really felt the difference when I started doing all kinds of cleansing, especially juice fasting.
You don't know you're not healthy until you really get healthy.
My lower back pain is gone. My nasal congestion is gone.
Within 2 weeks, I noticed a difference. I was up on my feet again. I was able to sleep through the night, and I was able to get off the drugs. Everything changes.
I love being 52 and feeling like I'm 22.
I can promise you that you will feel so much better eating this way.
You should really try. Just take the natural stuff.
Try raw food, it's great.
it's the next step.
Make this change in your life.
You can change right now.
Yeah, I work 16-hour days, and I have time for raw food. If I have time, you have time. Give your body what it needs, and watch the miracles start to happen.
This absolutely does work. It definitely works.
Life or death. It's your choice.
choose life. We have a choice every moment. Be true to yourself.
It's time to be healthy, alive, and beautiful again.
I just love it.
I feel a huge difference.
Don't let anybody ever tell you you're too old for anything.
It's just so simple.
All right.
When do we get our wings?
Well, that's the thing. Everything in there I have either seen in myself or seen other people except the wings. And so I'm here because I love raw food. I'm here because it has changed my life. Who would have thought that fruits and vegetables in their raw, natural state would be the answer to so many things, but I have found that to be so in my life. And the raw food, we're going to make a smoothie pretty soon. I'm going to make you one and show you how easy it is. And this is pretty much my morning breakfast. By the way, these bananas are not ripe. So I put in a little less bananas and more dates. A lot of people think that if there's a little green or something. Bananas should be brown spotted, but they happened to run out last night because it got really crowded here yesterday, and they were more crowded. I guess everyone is having New Year's resolutions and trying to come in and eat more raw foods, and that's great. And so I always like to say to people, happy new day, because every day is the new day, and it's not, so many of us will make these resolutions, and it's like, okay, and what is it, 2, 3, 4 days, maybe a week, maybe 2, and then we're back at it. And so it helps me a lot, especially at the beginning, to just eat raw for one day. And I'm not here to get you guys to become 100% raw. I know a lot of you don't even want to be. I know a lot of people here already, but what I am here to do is to help you incorporate more fruits and greens in your diet and like it. And you might find yourself shifting at a higher percentage of raw foods in your diet. And in fact, I would say not to go 100% raw right away because of detoxification. And we're going to go through various topics for the month of January here. And one of the topics is the art of detoxification. That is the last week in January. Next week we're going to have, before you guys even ask the question, we're going to have the topic, where do you get your protein? That's the #1 question that I have heard. Where do you get your protein? We're like protein fanatics, and I'm going to cover that in greater detail next week. And the 3rd week of January is going to be the power of greens, and how there's so much in here. There's so much in here. Especially when it's blended and masticated by the blender, what our teeth will not do. And I'll get into more of that too, because, well, basically you have to break the cellulose fiber wall of the plant to get the nutrients. And the way we chew, even if you're going to chew a bunch of times, you're not going to get all of it out, all of the nutrition out of it, but the blender helps do that. The blender also produces some oxidization, which we don't want. And so there's a give and take with the blender. However, you are eating so many antioxidants. So there is a good balance. And I have found, it's one thing to read something or even to hear me talk or to see a YouTube video or whatever, but it's another thing to experience it in your life. And I have experienced it, and I want to share that with you. So I think it's time for a green smoothie. Does anybody hungry for green smoothie?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah,
Does anybody want green smoothie?
Yes.
What's in there?
Bananas, dates, kale, spinach, and water. That's it. And it's so simple. And so my breakfast takes me about 5 minutes to make. And this is typically a breakfast, a green smoothie. Why do I start with a green smoothie? Because greens slow down sugar absorption. and balance it out. Greens really help slow the sugar down. Too much sugar too quick could, it won't last as long, it won't sustain me through the morning. And so my diet is basically, I do a green smoothie in the morning, and I do fruit throughout the day, whether it be straight fruit or fruit smoothies, and then I have a ginormous salad at night. It would feed a family. It's about 4 pounds worth. And I love my salads. I love my smoothies. I love everything that I eat. There's no deprivation on this diet. I would not have done it. I'll tell you where I come from before I make this green smoothie. Well, let me make it really quick, and I'll tell you a little bit about Steve. Why Steve is like this. Why is he such a fanatic? Raw fruits and greens. Okay, so someone was asking the Blendtec or the Vitamix. And they're both great. They both work great. They both have their pluses and minuses. I like the Blendtec. I haven't found anything that has stalled me in the raw food plan with this. It's done everything for me. So what I like to do is I pulse it first to mix it up, and then I put it on the smoothie cycle. So I'll do a couple pulses. Okay, and then I smoothie cycle. 30 seconds. Why not just one of the department store blenders? They may work for a while, but their blade will start to dull, and the lack of power that they have. This is why this blender is $400, or a Vitamix is $400.
$350 at Costco.
There you go, $350. I've seen it for $350 myself. Actually, I got this, or I got one recently for someone else, $320 at Bed Bath & Beyond.
Yeah, that's where I'm gonna get it, because you have your coupon.
You got your 20% off at $400. So, yeah. Yeah, we're open.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, come on in. So, by the way, this is the $10 jar going around. So, if I'm on Dignity to give it around, and whatever you can is great. So this really makes. I had another smoothie before when I was just starting to go raw, and it worked. But what I noticed is that this makes it really smooth. The smoothie is smooth. And this is green. This is straight green and the beauty of green. So what I'm going to do, maybe if I could have one of you help me here, and just to pour a good glass full of each, and then I will make another one. And so as she's pouring, thank you so much for helping out on this.
Where do you get your dates? What kind of
I
dates?
get my dates from the Hollywood Farmers Market.
Okay,
And
so
I
you get organic.
I get organic, and it's great price. It is great price. They're the best date company I've heard, and a lot of raw foodists around the world order from them.
And you get those online?
Yep. I believe it's 7hotdates.com. Is there and they have really good pricing, and so.
I can be bad if that's the wrong website.
Right. Yes. Exactly. So
Throw those up, man.
Yeah, I don't know how.
we're gonna make another one. So yeah, and anything extra, we'll give seconds.
Okay, well,
Yeah, you're doing great. Thank you so much. So my story is I didn't eat many vegetables or fruits. I had my first vegetable when I was about 18, and it was iceberg lettuce with a bunch of blue cheese dressing. I would probably have an apple or two a month, and maybe a banana or two a month.
Where did you grow up?
I grew up in LA.
Midwest or what?
No, I definitely, so I would eat boxes and boxes of cereal and bagels and cream cheese and hamburgers and chili cheeseburgers and pizza, and So I had everything. I know what it's like to be a slave to cook food. I know so much of how it's like because about 4 or 5 years ago, I was introduced to raw foods and I was like, well, I'll try it a little bit. And the thing that got me interested was my basketball game was going down. I was getting older, I was feeling my age, and I was taking longer to recover. And I didn't like that. I wanted to keep playing, and I was just really frustrated. And someone said something about the raw foods, and I was like, okay, I'll try it a little bit. And when I tried just a little bit, all of a sudden, I was like, whoa. And then I tried it for a couple days, and I was like, the lights are on right now. Something is different and happening. But for 2 years, I could not sustain it. I could not stay on the raw food diet because I am so addicted to cooked food. I'm so addicted to hamburgers, cheeseburgers. Those are my favorite, and French fries. And I would go across the street there. I won't mention any names because I am YouTubing this, but and I would get 3 double doubles, animal style, with fries, and then I go to an ice cream place and get like the big one afterwards. And so I would eat a lot of food, and I was heavier, but not that much heavier. I probably, from my top weight, went down about 50 pounds. And but for 2 years, I couldn't sustain being raw. I danced. I was doing the back and forth dance. I would be raw for a day or 3 days or 5 days or maybe 30, and then I went back to my old love. It would comfort me. It would make me feel good. And afterwards, I was like, oh, this doesn't feel good. And so February 15th, 2010, I once and for all finally decided again that I was really going to do this. And so whatever it took, I was just going to eat raw foods. And I wanted the other stuff, but I would eat raw foods. And that was the key for me, was when I wanted cooked food, one of my old favorites, just have raw food first. And I remember it was early in my cooked food sobriety, for lack of a better word. I was with some friends, and we were near a pizza place that I loved, and I would eat, all you can eat there for lunchtime. And I was ready to go there, and I asked them, and they said no, they didn't want to go. And I was ready to go back, just by myself and just eat, because I had to have that comfort. And something said, no, just go and make your green smoothie at home. Just go do it. And so I went, and did everyone get some? Oh, we need another one of these, huh? Okay. So I went to, instead, I remember what I had, and maybe I should make it next time here, is I had bananas, blueberries, and celery, frozen blueberries and celery. And I remember eating that and thinking, I feel so good right now. And I'm so glad I did not go and have pizza. And I was so ready to have the pizza. It was like, I could taste it, I was salivating over it. And instead, I decided to have my purple smoothie, because it's, with the blueberries, it's purple. And I just felt so satisfied. And so it was a lesson for me that before I want to have cooked food, and I have to have it, and I'm having that craving, just to have raw. And so as a result of being raw, my personal testimony is I had lower back trouble. I had insomnia. I had maybe chronic fatigue syndrome. I'm not sure. I just know I felt tired all the time. And I wasn't recovering very fast on the basketball court. It would be like a day or two, and I was still a day or two, and I was still sore. Now I could go play basketball or hike or do whatever I want to be active every day. Every single day I'm active. This morning I looked at the clock when I woke up at 5:48, and I wake up without an alarm clock. And I love that. And I wake up energized for life and ready to do this thing called life. And It's so good. Had I known what I know now, I would have went raw as young as I could have possibly been and stayed raw. And, but there are problems with raw food. And the biggest problem, I don't know what is a bigger problem. There's two really big problems that come up. One is the convenience of it. It's not convenient. You got to make your green smoothie. You got to bring your fruit with you. It's so easy to go through a drive-through or to a quick restaurant, and there's restaurants everywhere that don't have raw food. The other thing that makes it really difficult is detoxification. And again, we're going to go into that on the 4th week, the art of detoxification. I find that a lot of people I help go raw, and a lot of them can't stay raw. And it comes down to detoxification symptoms. When these symptoms come up, it's like all of a sudden, raw's not working, this is not working, I must be doing something wrong. And I have my own story of that too.
You forgot me.
You guys are my help today. I'm hoping I can help you, and you guys just help me. Thank you. Okay. Greens. Power of greens.
Yeah.
How many people did get a smoothie? Great. Wow. We might have to get one more.
Yes, there is smaller. We can have one.
Okay. But there's going to be plenty for everybody.
I found that to be really sweet. So if I didn't want to eat bananas, what would I put instead of
Well,
bananas? Like
what is making it the most sweet are the dates.
I know.
The dates are making it the most sweet. And so yes, you would put less.
How about apples?
Yeah.
Would that be like?
Oh yeah. I'm going to be giving recipes as well.
I'm trying to stop eating bananas. I don't know why. They just seem like they come up more. Like just trying to detox more.
Yeah.
Bananas seem like it's that one fruit that's carby or something. I can't explain it.
I'll talk to you about bananas. I'll talk to you after about bananas. But bananas are awesome.
Okay.
But
All right.
but they are different than a lot of the fruits, and they do everything you just said. I understand that. So much for your help. I'm assuming you'll do it again.
Absolutely.
Thank you. So, so where were we? We were talking about bananas. Convenience, yeah, for the bananas. And the detoxification, thank you. So what happened with me one time was I remember playing basketball and at night I was trying to go to sleep. And I was raw for like 10 or 15 days or something, and I was trying to go to sleep, and I couldn't because my legs were cramping, and I couldn't go to sleep, and I was having these massive leg cramps, and I was like, well, it can't be potassium because I've had so many bananas today, so it has to be calcium. Is it too thick?
No, there was just a leaf of spinach that didn't blend, so
okay.
Someone's getting a leaf of spinach.
All right. So I had the leg cramps, and I couldn't sleep, and so it had to be calcium, because I had enough potassium in my bananas. So the calcium, okay, I need calcium. What has calcium? Milk. Milk has calcium, okay. So I went to go have milk. I woke up in the middle of the night, or got out of bed in the middle of the night, and drank milk. And my leg cramps went away. And I said, see, I needed milk. Milk helped. And I talked to one of my friends, and they said, that's what everybody says. And that as soon as you have something like that and then it goes away, what happened is the milk stopped the detoxification process. And the cramping that was going on was the body doing what it needed to do to get rid of the toxins through the muscle. And so it wasn't the milk that I needed, and I know that now because I play a lot of basketball, I'm very active, and I haven't had milk in 2 years. So it's not the milk that does it. And so if you are having detoxification symptoms, if you're going through this and all of a sudden it's like, I could make the next one a little thinner. But that.
What are your thoughts on raw milk?
Better than pasteurized milk.
Okay.
But
You don't drink it though.
I don't drink it. I haven't found anything, and if somebody could share with me something that's in animal products that you can't get in fruits or greens, I would love to know what that nutrient is or how much of it is and why we do need it and if it is beneficial, because I will have it. I'm not like, okay, it's got to be raw and that's it. And you know, a lot of raw vegans out there are very militant, and they're like, if you're not raw, then you're bad, or if you're not vegan, you're bad, or you're not doing it right, or and some raw vegans are like, you got to be this way raw vegan instead of this way, because there's all these different ways of being raw vegan. There's the high fat and make sure you get a lot of fat. There's the high carb but low fat. There's the let's do greens and sprouts and stay way away from sugar. There's all these different modalities, and for me personally, I use the low-fat, high-carb, raw vegan diet. My diet is basically sugar, and I had the same concerns. What about sugar? Why sugar? Whoa, sugar is not good. Sugar is a bad word. Sugar, from what I have learned, is awesome for you. It's great. All 80 trillion cells run on glucose, but it's the right kind of sugar. And it's in its whole form from fruit that has the fiber in it that slows it down and regulates the sugar exactly how nature intended it to be. So some people are into keeping away from sugar, but I have not seen any elite athletes that were low carbohydrate. And it's either you are high carbohydrate or you are high fat. Because everyone is going to get about the same protein. You're going to get about 10% protein if you're eating enough greens, and fruit has protein in it, yes. And parsley has fat in it. And people are like, what? So everything, there's 3 macronutrients. There is carbohydrates, protein, and fats. And all food, pretty much, all fruits and vegetables have the 3 in them to some degree. And so I myself had blood tests for 2 years in a row, and they came out excellent. I was worried about protein deficiency. I was worried about zinc deficiency. I was worried about calcium, B12. What's another one?
Iron.
Iron. Thank you. And those were my main concerns. And all of those were right in line after being raw vegan. And it's doing great, and I feel great.
You don't take vitamins?
I don't take vitamins, supplements, anything.
What fruits are high in zinc? What are some of the things good for zinc?
I don't know the answer to that, but that is a good. I will have that information. I will do a whole nutrient content class on. Okay, these are highest in zinc. These are highest in calcium. These are highest in because they are important. It's important to get the nutrients. But here's something else. It's not how much nutrients that we ever get. It's as much as we absorb. Exactly. So the cleaner we get, the less of something you need. I myself am someone who, I eat a lot of food now, but I used to eat a lot more raw food. When I was first starting, I was getting skinny, and I couldn't help it, and I didn't want it, especially guys. Women love to get skinny, or most women are okay with losing weight, but guys, we don't want to look wimpy or skinny or scrawny. We want to look, and so, or I'll just say I do. And so I got down to 147, and I'm 6'1". So yeah, I got thin, and people were getting scared for me, and family was right there to convince me that what I'm doing is wrong, and friends were right there to convince me what I'm doing is wrong, and it's totally understandable. It's everywhere. Milk does a body good. Where you need meat to get protein. All of these things have been ingrained in us from the school systems, from the food pyramids. From early on, it is something deep in me, and it's still in me. I still think of it sometimes. Oh, I hope I'm getting enough of this or this. And about protein, and we'll talk about that next week, is where do you get your protein? Where does a gorilla who could bench press approximately 3,500 pounds get his protein? Does he take protein powder? Is he taking supplements or eating meat? None of that. He gets it from this. Did everyone get a green smoothie?
No.
Okay. Just say green smoothie, Steve. Let's see here. Who would like to make a green smoothie?
I can do that.
Okay. All right. Let's go with,
Banana?
yeah, let's go with 2 bananas. Let's go with about 4 bananas. How many people have not had a green smoothie yet? 1, 2, 3, 4. Good. Okay. So 4 bananas would be good. Probably about 8 dates. And the rest of these greens and the rest of this water will make an excellent green smoothie.
Can I just ask, quickly, this is your breakfast every morning, which is cool. You don't ever have protein or any? You never add a protein to
Sometimes.
your smoothies?
Not hemp protein, but hemp seeds. I like whole foods. I like food.
So you never use protein powder?
I have rarely used it. More for sweetness, or because it's sometimes some of the protein powders have sweetness, where I was using one like Amino. I was trying that out for a while to see if it would help me build muscle or anything, and it didn't, so I stopped. It's not so bad to have this stuff. I'm not into bad or good. I'm just into what's the consequence of it, or what the reaction. What is the body doing? I want to see what the body does. And so I have found that just with fruits and greens, it's all there. Nature provided everything. Now here's one thing I do that's cheating, quote unquote cheating, is I juice. I have green juices. And why is that cheating? Well, because you're taking out the fiber. However, you're going to get so much nutrition. I love juices too. And I don't really feel bad about it, but I'm just making a statement that I'm not all whole foods. I'm not all about whole foods. I will do green juices because our soils are depleted and we need more minerals, and greens have the highest mineral content between fruits and vegetables. Greens have the highest. And so I want my minerals. I want to make sure I get enough nutrition, and so I do the green juices. And thank you. And I will be coming in here and making juices 1 week as well for people, just to show.
Are you going to do your salads that you eat at night too?
I'm thinking of that.
Or at least tell us what you put in.
Oh yeah, no, my salads, I call them my King Kong salads.
They sound pretty.
They are, as one of my raw food friends says, they are epic. And you know who you are.
Do you make your own dressing? Do you make raw dressing yourself?
Absolutely.
You do.
It's with an avocado base and either an apple cider or a coconut vinegar and lemon, and maybe I'll put a date in for sweetness, and cumin and paprika, and maybe it is cilantro, and there's no deprivation. Thank you. There's no deprivation on my diet. Thank you. See, you can do it without water, by the way, and you get a pudding. You get a pudding, and sometimes I have pudding. I wouldn't do it with dates with no water, because dates are one of the lower ones of water content, so you need a little bit of water. But one of the things I've been having lately, for like lunch, has anybody here have had persimmons?
I just bought one the other day for my first time.
I ate them on off.
Okay.
They're so good.
They're so good. So there's two kinds of persimmons, and I do both. But for the pudding that I'm going to tell you about, it is persimmons and dates and water. And it is pure sugar. And that would be a lunch for me.
Oh,
And people would say,
not a snack, not a dessert.
no, I would have like a quart of it. Like I would grub on it. Right. See, that's the thing, right? It's a lot of sugar compared to what we're used to. But if you look at an animal in the wild, they will eat their fruit until they're done. And they go on to the next tree. They usually have one fruit, they have one fruit at a time. Gorillas have been known to wrap green leaves around their bananas here and there, which is actually a very good thing. If you take romaine lettuce and get a ripe banana and put it in between the romaine and wrap it, you have your banana burrito. It's actually really simple, really delicious. Okay. Here we go.
Jason, go back to when you're saying you got down to 147, because that would stop most of us.
Right. It almost stopped me. It was almost, I started to say to myself, that I can't keep doing this. Because when's the end going to be? Am I going to go to 137? And
you felt great during that.
I felt great. I didn't look good. I started to feel like it was, I was getting kind of skinny, like especially the face. I was like not liking that. And people were saying to me they were concerned for my health. But I have read enough of the books and have followed enough of the people that have done this before me to know that it's normal that happens. And nobody gets away with what they have done. There is a compensation that the body does, and the body breaks down. And now I'm about 20 pounds heavier than my lowest weight. And I've been eating less. So now I'm absorbing more. I'm getting more nutrition, and I'm building better materials.
That low period until you started getting normal again?
There was about a good 6 or 9 months. It's a long time, and I was ready, but I stuck it out. There were in the 2 years before where I didn't stick it out, I was convinced by people would say you need to eat regular food. Did everybody get some? Nobody is left without a green smoothie? Isn't that great?
Yeah.
Isn't that like?
Yeah.
It's like this is how could this?
Okay, exact naturally dry dates without sugar.
No, that's natural dates without any extra
So
sugar.
if you didn't want to, you couldn't go to the Hollywood Farms
Yeah.
to get those, where would it be? Whole Foods?
Whole Foods or Trader Joe's.
At Trader Joe's?
Yeah, Trader Joe's. They don't have organic ones, but dates are one of the foods that are more acceptable to not be organic.
Okay.
And there are, I'll bring in a list of the Dirty Dozen and the Clean 15. And some of you might have heard of that before, but there are certain fruits and vegetables that you definitely don't want to have conventional. And there's some that are okay, and it's usually the ones that have thick skin on it.
There's a farmer's market on Rural Canyon too.
Yep, today on Sunday.
And Woodman also on Tuesdays.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. Well, I have another video I want to show, and this lady is somebody who has inspired me, and her boyfriend are the hottest thing in the raw food movement these days. And they are the high carb, low fat. This lady who has the body that I believe most women want, she eats 30 bananas a day. 30 bananas a day. And she comes from bulimia and anorexia and being overweight and the whole food issue deal. And her boyfriend eats 30 bananas a day, and he's a mad athlete. This couple they're in Australia, and they have become like the highest hits on YouTube for raw vegan, and they are heavily sought after. And because there's a lot of people out there that are like, don't eat fruit, sugar's bad, carbs are bad, stay away. And we'll get into that it's not the sugar as much as it is the sugar combined with the fat. And so, because that slows down the sugar and it keeps it in the bloodstream longer, and that's where levels are high for too long.
What kind of fat are you putting in there?
We don't want any fat with the sugars. We want fat by itself.
And somehow I heard you say that opposite.
Oh.
So I was,
No, well, there's fat in everything, but what I'm talking is overt fats. We wouldn't want banana and avocado.
okay.
We-
You know, but you're talking about people who exercise a lot.
Uh-huh,
A
right.
lot of people, like, I'm almost 60,
Yeah.
and I'm not exercising that
That's
much
right.
anymore. I can't eat that much sugar.
That's right.
Or it,
That's right. For people who don't exercise as much and are not athletes, I would say lower the sugar and higher the fat. And there's a reason for that too, and we'll get into that in, let's see here.
What's the video?
website. Just 30 bananas a day. So there was a sheet going around to sign your name and your number, email address, and the percentage of raw foods that you want in your daily diet, like over the next 30 days. And the reason why I put that there.
I didn't see that there.
Oh, okay.
Most people didn't.
That was the last
Nobody
Three
did that.
people put it in.
Okay. So maybe you could pass it around. What I'm interested in doing is getting more of a community together of people interested in raw food. So, for instance, there's me who's been raw for 2 years straight 100%, and you guys might not be able to relate with me because, you know, who's that crazy? But what about somebody who wants to go maybe 75% raw and who is just starting out? And then if we could maybe exchange numbers, we could start to meet people, because I have found that through community, that's where the power and the strength is. It's not in, let me go do this by myself. For me personally, let me do this by myself works great for a few days, maybe even a few weeks. But after that, I need the support and the community of whoever. And I want to maybe put people together in and do raw food cleanses. And have where, okay, for those who want to go 100% raw, I can help with that. For those who want to go 50% raw, I can help with that. I'm thinking most here want to go a lower percentage of raw. But more people want to just kind of ease into it, and I think that's a better idea. I think it's better than going 100% because the detoxification will be more mild and more pleasant, and it's a good transition, instead of all or nothing mentality, which I, for one, have that in me to do. Like all of a sudden, I guess I watched Rocky too many times when I was a kid. But
So when you had the leg cramps from the detoxing and went off,
yeah.
Then later someone showed you how to detox slower, and you didn't get those?
Well, no, I went through it, and I would get the leg cramps, and I would just go through it, and so I'm going to pass this around again for those who maybe want to put a percentage in, and because so
I got a real problem with pain. So
yeah,
you know, however you could ease into it. So if you went 50%, you would detox less, and you wouldn't get cramps like that.
That's correct.
Okay.
And what I tell people is they want to know, like, well, how do I start to incorporate more fruits and veggies? The most important meal of the day to incorporate a green smoothie or the fruit or whatever it is breakfast. You've been fasting all night long, and your body is ready to absorb more. And fruits and veggies go through you quicker than all the other rest of the foods. Fruits the fastest, and then veggies the second, and then the nuts and seeds, and then we go, you know, with all the cooked food that it could take 3 days to go through you.
Do you ever put like almonds, soaked almonds in your smoothie?
I don't, unless I'm doing straight almond milk, which I don't do very often. Well, yeah, it's easy with a good juicer. You put it through a juicer, but I don't mix fats with fruit, and there's a reason. And we're going to do a class here on all food combining. Why does this go with this and this doesn't go with this? There's a reason why. There's a reason why if you put almonds and bananas together, you're not going to feel as good as if you had just the almonds or just the bananas. There is a reason why, and the reason for my energy and for all the people you've seen with this newfound energy is because the body uses 60% of its blood for digestion, and so 60% you're taxed while you're digesting. So when you digest fruits, it's so quick and so easy and so effortless on the body. And when you have a hamburger, you can be 3 days still digesting. And there are people who, very common I hear, having bowel movements like once a day or once every 2 or 3 days. And that's like normal for them. And I'm here to tell you that normal is like after every meal. And when I heard that first, I was like, what? But I could tell you, for me, it is a complete joy to go to the bathroom. There is, everything works like it was intended to work. And so the energy, so when the body's not using all of its energy to digest the food, start to have more energy for the body to do what it wants to do. And what the body wants to do more than anything is to heal itself. It's constantly healing itself. If you cut your arm, it'll heal itself. You break a bone, it'll heal itself. And so when we get out of its way, we start to heal, and then we get this extra energy. And so,
How
yeah.
long do you go without eating after your first smoothie? Like when you get hungry again, how long does that last you for energy?
Well, because of the dates and because of the high sugar content and calories, it'll last me a good 4 or 5 hours.
Really?
It will.
You don't have to eat for 4 hours after you have. That's pretty
Correct.
impressive.
Well, here's why. My stomach, I have friends that are like over 300 pounds. My stomach is bigger than anyone I know. And I tell people if they want a slim waistline, they gotta learn to get a big stomach. And the only way, I know, right? And the only way you're gonna get a big stomach is if you're eating foods that have water and fiber in them. The foods I eat are so big in volume. And when you're eating processed food, you can have this little thing here, and it's like 800 calories right here in the palm of your hand. Because it's so condensed. But when I have 800 calories, it's like this. So I have a big stomach.
What were the other greens besides the kale? What's in that other one?
Spinach.
It was just spinach?
It was just
Nothing
spinach.
else?
That's it.
Kale?
Now, so sometimes I'll put in broccoli, sometimes I'll put chard, sometimes I'll put celery. I mix my greens.
Me too.
Yes, good. And I'm going to get into that in the third week in the power of greens and why to mix them. But you got a question?
Yeah, I'm just curious, your detox symptoms, how long do they last?
They're still going in some ways, and I've come to accept them. I can feel my nose is running a little bit right now, and mucus. I have mucus all throughout my entire body from years of eating junk, and the
You
mucus.
still do?
Absolutely.
After being raw for 2 years?
Right. People have said like, "Oh, you're 2 years raw." I mean, aren't you done? Right. Because for 40 years I didn't. And so we think 2 is like so like we think the body is just so like I said in the video, if we have a hamburger, it's just gonna leave us the next day. It's like no, it becomes part of
You
you.
could have allergies
Maybe.
though. What do you put in your salad?
Salad is my typical salad is romaine lettuce, probably about 2 or 3 hearts of romaine, and that's about a pound of romaine. And then I'll put in cucumbers, chop them up, and I'll put in maybe some red bell pepper. And I love the sugar plum tomatoes from Trader Joe's. I love those. And that's the salad.
Wait, I'm sorry, I couldn't hear.
And then the dressing is where I'll tell you. I'll talk to you after. The dressing is where it's at because no one cares about the salad. I want my salad is like a soup almost. There's so much dressing. I will put like this whole thing will be dressing. I'll probably put in oranges, a couple of orange juice, some lemon juice, maybe a date, and I'll put in an avocado and some cilantro, and then different seasonings. Like it could be onion, it could be garlic, cumin, dill, whatever it is. I mean, there's so many. I was always afraid that doing this, I'm going to be limited to oh, I can't have this and I can't have that. There's so much I could have now. And the biggest surprise for me, and you couldn't tell me this 2 years ago, is that food tastes better than it ever has in my life. I am now enjoying food. The other day I had an orange, and I was eating the orange, and I was like, what could be better than this? I can't be happier at this very moment. My mouth couldn't have more satisfaction. And it's just an orange. But when the body gets clean and our taste buds reawaken, all of a sudden these little things, these little subtleties make a big difference and we start to notice them. But when we're eating all of this processed food and all of these spices and condiments and salt and all of this stuff, all of a sudden we get more and more numb. And like any drug, we need more to feel good or to have that same rush or spice. And so let's see, we got let's see, we got a 75, a 50, a 75, 50, 60. This is exactly what I thought, 39, 50, 80, 20, 100 for 21 days, all right. I think I know what that is. 50%, 409%? No, that's 40%, okay. 50%.
Dedicated.
Right, and that's the thing, is it's a great idea to start out with about 50%. And so what I tell people again is make the green smoothie in the morning, or have the fruit, and then lunch, have whatever you want. And dinner, have whatever you want. And I'm a big believer in not restricting anything. And, oh, I gotta stay away from this food, or I stay away. I'm a big believer in adding. You add more fruits and greens that you start to like, the other stuff will go away in its own time without any deprivation on your part. And that's something I can live with, because if I can't have something, my mind is going to still be like, oh, I kind of want that, I kind of want that, I kind of want that. And on a weekday, not a weekday, but on a day where I'm weak, I will go ahead and just say, oh, I'm going to go have that now. And I'll do that because I'm depriving myself. So I say add the stuff in, and don't subtract anything out of your diet. So add in and if you have to have your oatmeal, or you have to have your whatever you do in the morning because it's going to sustain you, then have the fruit about a half an hour before it. And just to get the fruit in you before the fruit in you, and then let it digest, and then have the other food that you're going to put in. So, yeah.
In your further classes here, are you going to talk about the combinations
Yes.
of the best things and what's bad?
Yes, I'm going to definitely talk about food combining. Next week is going to be the where do you get your protein? It's a whole subject on that, the most popular question in the world. Where do you get your protein? I'm going to break down the amino acids, because it doesn't matter what, we can't use protein. We can't use protein. We can't use protein. Does that make sense? Until it gets broken down into the amino acids. So the fruit, the greens that we had, and the fruit for that matter, is straight aminos. Straight aminos. Straight into your bloodstream. There's no middleman. The protein's the middleman that has to break down. When you're breaking down meat, you get that protein like later. Like you want protein right now, especially after a workout. You want to get those aminos in you, and you want to get your glycogen levels up right away within the 45-minute window at least. And so are there any other questions before we guess?
Yeah, I know that vegan diet could provide abundant vitamin and minerals. What is a question about vitamin B12?
B12, that is a good one, and I will get into that more. But a lot of the B12 is about absorption. B12, it's not that vegans are the only ones with B12 deficiencies. There's plenty of meat eaters. It's across the board. B12 is a problem. So it's about absorption, and it's a definite, it's an issue. One of the things, books that I read, one of my favorite books is the 80-10-10 diet, and he talks about, Dr. Douglas Graham talks about B12 specifically. There's a good 4 pages on B12 and what the possible, and it's still in discovery of B12. So, are you B12 deficient? Do you know?
No, it's just that when I started to become vegetarian, I read about nutrition, and it seems that this is the only nutrition concern we have.
Yeah, it is. B12 is something to be concerned about, and it's something to look after carefully, and also vitamin D, and making sure we get enough sunlight.
Is iron at all tricky?
It could be, but there's ways to absorb more iron by using more garlic and onions. They help absorb iron, and spinach has a lot of iron.
Okay, obviously there's hours and hours of detailed questions we could get into.
Yeah.
My feeling is, okay, you got me hooked, I'm interested, I want to do this. Where are we going next? And as I'm seeing this, they've got detox programs here. Can you talk about these, or what's the next step?
Well, the next step is, you know what? I left my cards, I think, in my car. Have you grabbed my cards? Jake, will you show him where my car is out there? And it's in the front seat. Take him through the kitchen.
You have parking back? And where are your cars in the car?
They're right on the front by the
How many weeks
thingy.
are you doing this?
I am going to do this until we all pass out. Yeah.
So is it possible, I stumbled upon you, I mean, by
Yeah.
accident,
Oh,
because
yeah.
I came in to check about a
Yeah.
plan. Can you, I don't remember things well, I
Yeah.
remember, and I know half the stuff
Yeah.
you're saying already,
Uh-huh.
and some people probably are hearing it for the first
Sure.
time, and I'm learning new stuff that I can't remember. Could you possibly a little, just key points in a sheet?
Yep, I will.
Pass those out?
I'll be emailing.
Okay.
I'll be emailing everyone that was here some reminders of everything.
Okay.
And I also will be giving my cards out too. I'm a holistic health counselor, studied at the Institute of Integrative Nutrition, which is the #1 nutrition school in the world.
Where is
the
that?
largest. It's based in New York. And so, how you doing? Good, good to see you. And so I take people through a 6-month health counseling deal where we meet twice a month, and we have email and phone support in between. And so that's something that we could talk about after. He's going to get some of my cards. My website is Pure Energy Factor. Let's see here. PureEnergyFactor.com. That's me.
One thing I wanted to comment on, and see
Yeah.
if you agree with it also, but because I've been vegan for 6 years,
Uh-huh.
and I work with a trainer right now. I work out about 6 times a week,
Uh-huh.
and I'm in better shape than most of my peers. I'm 39. And I just you see when people, I think there's just an overemphasis sometimes. Like you start reading all this stuff or misinformation. And I think one thing you said about listening to your body, like I don't have a B12 deficiency. I don't have any deficiencies.
Yeah.
I think, but when people come into it, they're just when people are learning about it. I think you read stuff and it's like all of a sudden it's like, oh no, B12, I'm gonna die, and it's like if you just look around.
Right.
You know, it's like 0.5% of the people are vegan. But look at how many unhealthy people there are that eat meat. So if eating meat and dairy was the answer,
exactly,
we wouldn't have the health catastrophe that we have.
Exactly.
Why, I
But if you
take a
don't need
vitamin, but I take a vitamin every morning just because, and I take these raw women, but they're awesome. Just to cover my bases in case I.
Yeah, insurance.
I think all day long.
That's right.
You're like lucky that you're figures all that out. Mine just
Yeah. I mean, I am not a doctor, and this is not medical advice, but I tell people to continue doing what they're doing and add. Keep taking the medication, keep taking the supplements. Don't stop anything, just add more fruits and greens, and the other stuff will go away in its own time again, without any deprivation for you. You'll start to know, you'll start to feel different, and you'll start to test it out. And it's all an experiment. I, by no means, am somebody who has the answers, and I know it all, and I am somebody, I'm a student at this, and I'm learning, and stuff I tell you today, I might in 6 months from now say, I've learned this now. So I want to come from a point of, this is my experience, this is what has happened with me, and because you can ask 10 different people about B12 and they'll give you 10 different answers that are absolutely correct and they will stand behind it. And so in every category of nutrition and the body. So so here are some business cards too. If you're interested in asking me questions, I'm very open to that. And if anybody wants to join on the 6-month health counseling program, that's something that I do as well too. It's starting to fill up a little bit, so I'm selective, and there's kind of a waiting list too. But
Magic question, what's the price?
We'll talk about it. It's basically $200 a month.
Okay, and what's the cost of going vegan? The food cost of going raw?
At first, I believe it's a little more expensive because of the amount of foods you need and the amount of trial and error that you're going to go through. It's so much easier to go through a drive-through and get.
No, I think if you save money,
Oh yeah, you did. In the long run, you absolutely do.
There's no question. I did go.
Oh yeah.
I'm older than here.
Yeah.
And I've gone out.
Well, you look great. You're absolutely beautiful. So yeah.
And I'm a cancer survivor.
Wow. Well, Well, I also want to have people come up here at times to talk about their testimonial if they've been raw for 10 days or they've been raw for 3 months, or if they have anything else, because I'm about health. And I'm going to be bringing people in that I know from yoga, from massage, from this or that, because I'm about energy and pure energy and getting that health that is inside of us. It's not something to go get out there. It's not from an energy drink or a this or that. It's already, the energy is in, the pure energy is inside. And when I remove the barriers that block me from that energy, all of a sudden I start to feel it. It's so exciting. I can't tell you, like I go to a park to go play basketball, and I get out of the car and I'm like a little kid running to the court, like, yay, mommy, we're here. This is like being on drugs or something. It's like
my son worked at a raw food restaurant for 1 hour, and he worked at In-N-Out before that.
Yeah.
This is a while ago. And Leaf Cuisine, I don't know if you've ever done that. 1 hour into it, he just could not believe how much energy that food gives you.
Yeah.
And he did a switch in like such a short period
Yeah.
of time. It was unreal.
Yeah.
It changed his life forever.
Well, one of the things they call raw food, they call raw foods live foods, which means the other foods are not live, they're dead. And when you eat life, your body's living, and when you eat life and you give it life, it responds differently than when you give it something that's not alive. Like in the video we saw, you know, you put an apple in the ground, you'll get an apple tree. You put something processed in the ground, you'll get mold. So you're putting that thing in your body. You know, what do you think's happening? Your body's doing the best it could to get rid of it, but it's not going to respond the same way as if you put life into your life.
I was just going to say, I started, before Christmas, I started 80% raw diet, and now I'm in the middle of a 10-day cleanse, and I feel really good. I have a lot of energy. I do have, and I feel really good, you know, and I feel some of those detox symptoms, and I felt them early on when I switched to 80%,
Yeah.
and now that I did a 1-day cleanse, now I'm on that 10-day, and
Yeah.
it's just amazing energy.
Yeah, good, excellent. That's I have heard that so many times. I've never heard people say I don't feel more energy. Every single person that I've talked with, they eat it, they have more energy. And I have never met anybody who did not have a detoxification symptom and start to like complain about it and say maybe this is not for me. So there's like the energy and there's the, oh, what do I do with this? And when you go through the detoxification and you come out of the other side, you're going to start to wear a cape. Because it's like, there's so much, but what's your question?
Oh no, I just want to share a good example of raw food. A friend of mine, I think he is 50 something, but he looks really young. He looks at least 10 years younger. And just a few years ago, he was seriously ill. He was overweight, lost most of his hair, and he had no energy. And the doctors basically told him for the rest of his life, he would have to live on medication. He took so many pills every day, and his life was miserable.
Yeah.
And because doctors could not give a solution, he started to try alternative treatment.
That's right.
Now, yeah, the most one of the things that helped a lot was raw food.
Right.
Yeah. And now he's in really good shape. He's young, energetic. He did like 3 marathons last year.
Yeah.
And he just recommends raw diet to everyone.
Yeah. Great. I'm with him. I bet I could have a great conversation with him.
Yeah. When you went raw, what did you like? How soon did you test your blood, and how often do you do that? And what are you looking for?
I do it about once a year, and maybe every 9 months, and I did it probably about after 9 months. Still detoxifying. But yeah. So I mean, I recommend, you know, if you're going to go 100%, to see what's really happening with blood work, and not just go by how you feel, because there could be a lot of times we don't know we're sick. What is it? The AMA, American Medical Association, defines health as the absence of, I think, perceived illness. Not illness, but perceived illness. So I heard one guy say on YouTube, so that means that the absence of illness would be like a 0. And perceived illness, you could be like a -10. So how many people are inspired by -10? And how many people want to live like, what about 50? What does 50 look like? Or 100 or 200? This is where true health, the pure energy that's inside, is so valuable. And there's not just, my energy is also not just I'm high, I have like this calmness too, and this serenity, and the ability to accept things how they are in life, instead of, I was so sensitive to everything before, and I would get upset quicker, and now it's like I have so much more patience with people, and I look at people in the eye, and I like connect, and it just, I feel like I'm part of the world. And so, you know, I could stay here till dinner time, but maybe some of you want to eat here. The food is great. I can vouch that I am addicted to the food here, and I find it sometimes hard to let it go. It's very good. And
in the later classes, are you know, if we don't want a smoothie or a salad, are you going to talk about maybe any more like basic versions of, you know, some of the awesome stuff here that we could make it home? Or like
specific recipes, I don't know the recipes that they have here.
Right, yeah.
But sure, absolutely.
They use cashews a lot in the sauce.
Right.
It's like just basic fun stuff you can experiment with.
Sure.
Cheesecake.
Absolutely. Yeah, the cheesecake is ridiculous.
There's a class on Saturday.
Yep, there is.
The Rosh does a class on Saturday. There's a class like yesterday, every Saturday, so this month there's raw cooking classes here.
Oh, here. Oh,
yeah,
okay.
They do it here too.
They gave us like recipes and stuff yesterday.
Oh,
yeah,
cool.
yeah. So, does anybody else have anything else before we move on? I'm also very open to suggestion and constructive criticism or anything I could do to do better. My heart is in helping people discover what I've discovered, and giving them the dignity to find it their own way and not try to get them to do it the way I do it. Because again, I don't have the answers. I just have some that have worked for me, and maybe they'll work for you. So with that, I just thank you all for coming so much.